So wanted to show you guys a little bit what's going on out here. So I've done a couple of videos where I've been mowing out here. So this area in here, you can see we still have some cattle panels here. This area in here has been where we've kept our cows and in the winter mostly, and we'll probably do that again this winter or next winter, depending on when we get cows again. And then this area down here, you can see is kind of more brown. Below that is the septic system. So I can't garden, can't run cattle on that. But in this area here, I've always had cattle in there. It's been kind of a small pasture. I can put cows. Prior to that, we would make hay in here all the way back around. And then over here, this area here was a pasture. And you can see, here's our septic tank here. And you could sort of see the outline of a pasture. Since we didn't have cattle this year, it just all kind of grew up. You'll see all the toilet paper on the ground. Some of our kids' high school buddies toilet papered our house the other night, so that's what that's from. But this was a pasture, and in the past, actually, used to be a kind of a little corral down here, kind of on the far side here. And so the soil is actually pretty good here. So I'm going to show you something. So what I'm doing, if it hadn't rained, I was going to mow this a second time. But I'm going to show you over here. These here are plum trees. They did not produce any plums this year, which isn't unusual. Plums are kind of maybe an every other year sort of thing. But I have all these small plum trees like this growing. Here's one. Here's one. I mean, that's why this here area isn't mowed, is it's pretty much all little plums, and that's how they start. So what I'm going to do, you can see there's a row of them here. Also have a couple of pear trees there. Those have not produced anything yet. Those are probably 5 years old. Not sure if they will. But the plum trees have done pretty well here. And so what I'm going to do is basically take this here and run a complete row of plums here. I might have to trim this box elder out a little. I should just trim it at the ground, but I'll take some of these limbs off and cut down on the shade. But basically I want to put a straight line here of plums, and we've got this large pile of compost up there. We'll probably put some good compost in around them. And then maybe next year we'll put another row, or maybe we'll put another fruit tree or row of fruit trees in here or something. It's kind of a nice area here. It's a little bit protected. It's kind of easy to water from the house here. So anyway, if it dries out, which probably not going to dry out, we got probably a 1/4 inch of rain this afternoon, and otherwise I was going to mow this. And I'll probably show you some clips of me mowing this strip over here. And over here, what we're going to do, my thought anyway, is it's a little bit steep. I don't know if the video really shows that. It's a little steep for garden, but I'm not going to like work up the whole thing. I'm going to put kind of narrow strips that sort of follow the contour here. I'm not sure yet how wide. I'm thinking 3 to 4 feet wide, and really have, like one row of crops, or maybe 2 or 3 if it's like carrots, something small. But have rows here, kind of going down the hill here, for a couple of reasons. Number one, to make it more accessible. So the house is right behind us here. That's probably the main reason, is to make it more accessible from the house, make it a little easier to water. Because we have water and electricity nearby here. And because what we found, and I'm going to show you where the gardens are at currently. One of the struggles with gardening especially with little kids, is if it's not handy to the house, you're just not likely to spend time in the garden. So here's where our gardens have been, and we've had some really good gardens here in the past. We did not really put in a garden this year or last year. Here's our row of black raspberries. They're actually pretty good, other than need some weeding. And so what we have here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strips. They're about 14 feet wide, or they were when we started, and they kind of wrap around the hill here. It's a little flatter here than it was where we're going to put the garden now, which is one of the reasons I put it here. We're going to leave the black raspberries here and maybe put another row in, and then down here is more hay and pasture. And then you can see a strip here, and then in between the strips I've always had about a 12 to 14 foot wide, maybe 10 to 12 foot wide grass area that I mow, that you can drive in between it or walk, get a four-wheeler. But because just the way our family has been, we haven't really gardened these strips the last couple of years. And then we do have some more black raspberries or black caps here. Again, need some weeding. But our asparagus patch here has always been very, very productive. 3 rows. We've got some rhubarb in here. Maybe we'll move the rhubarb up closer to the house too. Again, part of the problem here is it's separated from the house by the barn and the hay, and it's just, if I'm out here, I can't tell where the kids are at, if they're up by the road. And so the hope would be to make this more hay and pasture, and maybe put the cows sort of back on this side a little bit, maybe move one of the buildings over here, and to move the garden area on that side. That's what I'm thinking anyway. So that's why I've been taking out fences, mowing, things like that. I'm going to put a fence along this side of the black raspberries there, and along this side of this strip, and essentially this area here will become hay and pasture. Might have to plow it and reseed it, but that's okay, I can do that. So that's sort of what I'm thinking here, and then plant more. We probably won't put any large-scale gardens for a little while until our kids are a little older, but certainly put some smaller stuff. Sweet corn will be fine in here, carrots, garlic, and then maybe down here lower where it's steeper, maybe we'll put in some more fruit trees. Maybe we'll put some strawberries. We've had good strawberries in the past. So that's kind of what's going on. So this is kind of the junky part. Without the cattle here, the weeds just get out of control. But this area is going to change a little bit, and I think this will be a better place to do some gardening for the next few years until our kids get a little older. Then maybe we'll ramp it up again a little bit. Could garden down there as well. Again, you just don't want wide strips of ground that gets tilled up, because it will wash on these hillsides. But if it's narrow strips followed by, separated by grassy walkways or driveways or whatever, that tends to pretty much eliminate erosion, and it actually just looks really nice too. So that's kind of what's going on. Hopefully, maybe even tomorrow, we'll get some of those plums transplanted and get them ready and get them established this fall so they can take off next spring.